Okay, this is the Windows installation and configuration video for using Unreal Engine 4.2.7 with the Oculus Quest 2. And it takes some configuring, setting up Android Studio and such to get it going. So this is going to be a little bit of a long video, but you get a lot out of it, I hope. So this is the Epic game launcher. Takes a little while to load up. You'll see an Unreal Engine tab on the left. Yeah, there's the Unreal Engine tab on the left. Go ahead and click on it. And then you'll see the tabs across the top. The library is strangely where the Unreal Engine is. You'll see engine versions, my projects, etc. We're going to be adding a new engine version today, 4.2.7. That plus sign will let you add the latest, greatest engine. And you see an install button there. There's also some options in the drop down. Things like set current and remove. Set current will set your default engine for new projects. Remove will let you uninstall it. And we'll go ahead and install. This is the default C:\program files path if you have a full drive or a nearly full drive. Using a D drive or external SSD is fine. It's about 40-ish gigs, 40 to 50 gigs probably, so something to think about. This install process is going to take about 40 minutes or so. This please wait will run quite some time. The installer will run quite some time. There's a verify step that can take 20 minutes or more. You can see a little progress indicator down in the taskbar where the Epic Launcher icon is. I'm not sure why it takes so long to initialize. Okay, the installer has started. Notice it's 13.6 gigs for the download. So this is going to take a while, so I'll pause the video and we can come back once it's down quite a bit further. I think this step of the install takes about 15 minutes typically. And then you'll notice that the installing sort of hangs out for a while right here, even though the files have come down. I'm not sure why. Now in this verifying step took like literally 30 minutes to run. It was kind of insane. So I'll edit that out. You'll notice there's a downloads option down here. You can actually see the progress. This is fast forwarded. We're 95% in at this point. This is useful, but it's also kind of annoying that the verify takes so long. It would be nice to be able to skip the verify also. I'm voicing over a pre-recorded screen record that I did for this. So that's how I know how long all this stuff took. I kind of wanted to just narrate over the install process rather than talking through it while I was doing it. And the verify step is done. Again, it sort of hangs out here at 100% for quite some time. I'm not sure why. Okay. We can now launch 4.2.7 and Now you can see all those other options. If you need to remove the install or create a shortcut or something like that, you can. That's that verify step that took so long. I don't recommend clicking on that. It's probably good if you have some sort of corruption or something, but okay. Here we go. It's going to fire up. You can see here Unreal Editor 4271 is loading. We don't have a project title or anything yet because we haven't created one, but we're about to. One thing you won't get in this video is just how long it takes for shaders to compile. The VR content you'll see in a little bit, there's about 4,000 shaders. So it's about a 30-minute shader compilation phase. But that's edited out of this video, so you don't have to deal with it. Okay, that's some old projects I have going on. And what you do here is you select to create a new project. We're going to create a new project, and you're going to always use games, even though you're not making a quote-unquote game for VR. You'll click the next button down there. Now it's lit up green. Okay, and instead of picking blank, we're going to pick virtual reality. With Unreal 427, the virtual reality template is pretty good. There was some issues, I think, with it back in 426 and 425, but I think it's quite a bit better, especially for Quest 2. Some people do use blank or other templates, but virtual reality is pretty good for 427, so we'll go with it. Okay, you'll notice there's no starter content. You may see with starter content when you first run Unreal. Definitely set it to none. It's a much smaller install and a much smaller package. Also, that before you dive into create project, make sure you name your project right here. And, we'll name it something like first VR project or new VR project. And that goes into the C drive. You can path out to D or somewhere if you want. All right. Go ahead and create the project. And now you see new VR project title here, and Unreal Editor 4.271. And here it is. Voila. You'll see new plugins are available. You can dismiss that. We don't need to update any at this point. And some of these steps are going to be just kind of running through some checks to make sure everything's okay. First thing we're going to look at is plugins, and go ahead and type OCU in the search box up here, and the search autocomplete will bring up the Oculus plugins. And what you want to make sure is Oculus Open XR is enabled, and it is. And you don't want the Oculus VR plugin down below, and it is not. If you have some old versions that of the projects and stuff that you've run before, you may have to change these, which is why I highlight it. Notice this is a beta plugin. It's beta 1.49, so this may change pretty quickly. So just a heads up there. But this beta version of the plugin so far has been running just fine for me. All right, so we're good here. Again, there's nothing to click. There's no like OK button or anything. You just click out the X. And now let's go into project settings. Project settings has a ton of settings. This is all different settings panels on the left-hand side. So it's kind of a lot to wade through. First one we're going to go into is under project. We're going to go to maps and modes and just make sure that our editor startup map and our game default map are set to this very first map we've created, VR template map, and it is. That's good. That just means the game will launch into the first map, and also the editor will launch into the first map. If you create more maps and then you want to change these, you can go into the drop down by where it says VR template map and change it. This is our input settings. The default touch interface here should be none. If it's not set to none, you can use the clear option under current asset to make that none. Not sure why that's not none in the drop down, but that's okay. Scrolling down. Android platforms has a lot of stuff we're going to take a look at. The first thing we want to do is actually configure the project for the Android platform. Notice this big red bar. You can make that big red bar green by clicking Configure Now. Platform files are now writable. If it's your first time installing, you're going to see Accept SDK License button, and you'll need to check it. I've already checked it at a different time, and so it's remembered that somehow in Unreal. So I have it grayed out, but the very first time you install Unreal, you'll probably have to check it and do that. And there's a bunch of settings in here. Notice minimum SDK version is set to 23. Leave it at that. That's fine for now. The target SDK version is set to 25. That's okay too. Leave it at 25. And there's some other stuff down here. Notice this package game data inside.apk question is checked. That's good. We want everything to be packaged into one file called a .apk file. If you don't check that, other kind of data files will be loaded into these things called OBB files, which you can see there's some settings down below for those. We want everything in one APK file. That way, if we share it with someone, a friend or something, or a tester, we can just send them one file and they can load it on their Quest 2 and be fine. So make sure that's checked. Yep. Okay, what else we got? Okay, this is a big one. Support ARM-v7. Notice that's checked. That's not what we want. And notice ARM64 is not checked, and we want it to be checked. So what's funny is you can't actually uncheck ARM-v7. What you have to do is you have to check ARM64 and then uncheck ARM-v7. And really make sure you do that. The Quest 2 is an ARM64 device, so you want to be running ARM64, not ARM-v7. I don't remember if Quest 1 is ARM-v7, but it doesn't matter for us. Okay, package for Oculus mobile devices. See these two array elements? Click that plus sign and make sure Oculus Quest 2 shows up first. That's fine. You can ignore Oculus Quest and invalid down there. What we really care about is that Oculus Quest 2 is in there as an array element. And notice this red box. We don't care about this, and you can leave it alone. This is for Google Play services. We're not using Google Play services, so you can just leave it red. It's fine. It looks scary, but it's not. And then let's go to Android SDK. Now, typically when you first install it, it's going to be totally blank for the first 3 entries. So I'm going to blank those out just to make it feel legit. We're going to come back to these and put the right pathing in. So that's what it should look like for you, and that's fine. We'll come back for these 3 and get these paths in here correctly. Latest in Android 21 is what you want for the 4th and 5th options in the row in that column. And I'm just clicking around. I think that's it for all of our settings. You can close that panel out. Make sure you hit Save Current. And now we're going to close that out, and we're going to install Android Studio. And to install Android Studio, really just open up a web browser. Whoops, I relaunched. Let's get that browser in there. Yep, and go to just search Android Studio. You'll see download Android Studio and SDK tools. And you'll see there that green download Android Studio button, 2020.3.1 for Windows 64-bit, which is great. But if you want to find the other options for things like an ARM Mac or a regular Intel or an old Intel Mac, you can get those there. Mac 64-bit is the Intel version. Mac 64-bit ARM is the M1 version. So Macs released this year are ARM Macs. Actually, last year and before or Intel Macs. Go ahead and accept the terms, download the exe file. For Windows, it's pretty big, it's almost a gig, so it takes a little while. Open the exe. takes a while to install. It's pretty big. It's a lot of small files. Windows is going to say, hey, are you really sure? Yes, we're really sure. Okay, yep, go ahead and hit next. We want both of these, Android Studio and Android Virtual Device, totally fine. Go ahead and hit next. This is the path to Android Studio. It's worth kind of knowing where this stuff is stored so you can copy it, paste it in a text file for safekeeping if you want. And now we're installing. Install completed. Click next. We're going to start Android Studio. It's going to ask us if we want dark mode or light mode. And what we want is actually we're not going to really use Android Studio as a dev environment. We're just going to configure our SDK, JDK, and APK. And so what we want to do is we want to go to this SDK manager option right here to configure our PC in the easiest way possible. And Android Studio is a great tool for that. So notice where the location of it is. Users, my name, Rob, app data, local Android SDK. And that is a path we're going to need to remember later on. And so I went ahead and saved that just to remind myself of where it is. And notice here, Android 10 is checked. If you just installed Android Studio for the first time, Android 12 might be checked. You definitely want to uncheck 12. You don't want 11. You don't want any other version. You just want Android 10. That's API level 29. So make sure everything else is unchecked except for 10. Now we're going to go into SDK Tools tab. This is kind of a weird tab. See those dashes inside those checkboxes? That means there's stuff down in those checkboxes, in those in these entries that have been checked, and then some things that haven't. So what we need to do is we need to unfurl what's underneath these checkboxes. And the way to do that is by going down to Show Package Details right here, checking that, and we've now unfurled those items. And what we want is only 29.02. Uncheck anything else like 31, 30, whatever, and just 29.0.2. Again, 29.0.2. Everything else can go away and should go away. And then we're going to scroll down, and now we've unfurled also NDK side by side. And the only thing we want checked is 23.0.7599858. Again, 23.0.7599858. What a number. Everything else should be unchecked. And there's some other stuff down here. You can ignore all of it. Good to know that it's there, but we're not going to use it. And now you might get a prompt that says, like, are you sure you want to install that stuff? The answer is yes. You'll install. That might take 10 minutes or so. And you'll hit OK. And now we're going to go back into Epic Games Launcher, back into Unreal Engine via that library tab. We're going to open our project, right? The new VR project. And go to Edit, go into Project Settings. Just a reminder, that's in the Android SDK option under Platforms. And what we need to do is click these three little dots, these ellipses, and we need to path out to it. And the place we need to go for that is C. Now I did a wrong thing. I went to Program Files, Android, and that's not the right place. And I realized I made a mistake here. Whoops, nope, it's not there. It's not there either, because it's in C:\/ users / rob / app data, I think. Or no, C/app data. I'm not sure. We'll get there eventually. Here we go. Now I'm checking. Users rob app data local. So now we're gonna go click the ellipses again. Go to the C drive. I have a razor blade, which is why it says razor blade 15 SSD on there. We're in users, go to Rob, go to app data. If you don't see app data, it's because it's hidden from you in your install of Windows. I think you can, if you have that problem, you can probably just type it into the field up top instead of clicking through the 3 dots like I did. Now go to local and go to Android. And then go to SDK, and that's all you need to do. Select the folder. Now we need, in the next field, we got our SDK, that's it. Now we need to go get the NDK, and the NDK is actually a subfolder of the SDK, and what's nice is Unreal remembers where we just were. So we're in app data local Android SDK, we're gonna click into NDK, and into that 23.0.7599858 folder. And I think that, yeah, that's it. And so now we need to get Java. And this is a little bit of a trick. I haven't seen too many people post about this, but there is a version of Java inside of Android Studio. And I found it to be the most reliable way to build with Android Studio. And so we're going to go get it. So go to C, Program Files, Android, Android Studio, JRE. And I thought maybe it was also bin, but I couldn't remember, but I fixed it. You'll see here, I realized my mistake. Click back. Mistakenly add bin, and then I think I'll get rid of it. I have it saved in a different text file. Open. Don't save. Let me check my old text file. Yeah, Android Studio, JRE. So no bin, so I get rid of this bin, bin, go away, poof. And also the last /. And then we have latest in Android 21 in those 4th and 5th fields, and those are totally fine. Okay, I'm gonna save current. And now we've got everything configured. How do we actually get our project onto the Quest 2? It's an excellent question. What I'm doing right now is I'm checking to make sure my Oculus Quest is plugged in and turned on. And if you haven't ever done this before, connect it to your laptop, and the Quest is going to ask you some questions inside the Quest display. So you have to put it on and allow USB connections and allow your computers to access the data on the Quest, so you can allow that stuff. And then your Quest 2 will be ready to communicate with your computer. It takes a few minutes to get it all sorted out, to put the Quest on. click on some stuff. I think my Guardian got freaked out too, so I had to fix that. There we go, Quest 2 connected. Okay. So where we're going to go is this launch item up here, but we're not going to click on launch. We're going to click on this little tiny down arrow on the right there. And now, for me, I see the Quest 2 in here, and it's because I've done some test configurations before. You probably will not, and that's okay. If you don't see the Quest 2 in there, it's not a big deal. After you've done a build, it'll show up. So go into Project Launcher. Project Launcher is pretty cool. You see now there's some bunch of devices, some stuff in there, but Quest 2 is now one of those devices, and that's great. And you'll notice you actually can't click on this row. You have to click on Launch on the very far right-hand side. And if you click on Launch, it's going to start to compile the application. It's going to verify it, launch it, build the game, cook it, and then deploy it onto your device, and then launch the game on your device as well. So this is a pretty cool launch checklist that tells you everything that's happening. So far, we've got 2 green checkboxes. That's a good sign. Notice the output log down here. We're going to get another little window, big window that comes up that has a kind of more gross looking output log. I'll just reduce it out, but it is useful to know what the output log is telling us. For instance, the build command has started. It's telling us various things that it's doing. Even if you don't understand it, it's just kind of good you'll see these rows with asterisks. That's kind of the main header and footer of each phase. So because we have build game for Android running, the build command phase has started, showing the log is telling us what's in there. Building new VR project. Remember, that's what we called it, new VR project. You'll notice that yellow line. Yellow lines will appear. They're okay. They're just a warning. They're not an error. So you can usually ignore them. If you get a bunch of yellow ones and then a bunch of red ones, then you know something's gone really wrong. Often you'll just get red lines that are hard errors, hard stop errors, but no yellow lines. So yellow ones don't mean too much for people like us. I think you'll see a group of yellow lines go by in a little bit. Just going to make the window a little bit bigger. So this step will take a few minutes. There's that big, fast-moving log file. We're going to close that out, or reduce it out. And that data in that giant window is the same stuff that's showing up here in this kind of more nicely formatted window. So now we're in this phase. If you look down close to the bottom, it says performing final APK package operation, ARM64. That was that ARM64 versus ARM7 box we checked. A common error that will happen is if the Android APK or the Android NDK or the Java JDK paths are messed up that we configured, you'll definitely get a fault and it will fail. And so I tried to be very meticulous in showing you how that stuff gets, how you path out to go get it. If you have a typo or anything, it's really kind of ruins your day. So, and the error messages can be a little bit strange. So if you run into an error at this phase, definitely check those 3 paths: path to the Android SDK, the Android NDK, and the Java JDK. That's your likely first place of a bug. So right now everything is happening on the computer. There's no real communication yet happening with the headset. But that next step, deploying content for Android and launching on Android, is where the headset's going to come into play. And our build is successful. That's a great sign. 59 actionable tasks, 59 executed. And the deploy command completed. And here's the run commands. If you look down at the bottom of the log file down there, you'll see things like running, and then you'll see a path, and it says adb.exe, and then -s1, and then wmmh, blah, blah, blah. That wmmh is the ID of the headset. adb is the utility that's used to communicate with the headset. There's one of those adb lines. And so I think right now, if you check the headset, you should see the app running. So that demo content that you see in Unreal Engine will be running in the headset, and everything will be cool. And then once you've kind of messed around with that, you can eventually close this screen out. And there we have it. You have deployed a test app from Unreal Engine to your Quest 2 with your PC. I have other videos for doing it on a M1 Mac, also an Intel Mac. But once you've done it on one platform, it's kind of all the same. Now, here's a way to package a project. And to package a project, that will actually build the APK file locally on your computer, and that's how you would then, say, send that .apk file to a friend of yours for something. And so notice I use the package drop down here. We're packaging the project. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder. I make the folder, I typically name mine the same thing every time I do something, and I call that packaged builds. And that's just a place where my packager is going to run. Notice the build directory already exists, and that's actually when we do a launch tool, that when we use the launch tool, that's actually where a copy of the application is stored. So you can actually go in there and get it from there if you want. But sometimes, like say for instance, your headset, the battery died or something, and you want to run a build, you can package the project without having to have your headset connected. It's pretty handy. So here we are. I'm going into the projects, going into package builds. I'm just waiting. I want to be able to monitor this folder for the package run. You can also notice I clicked on show output log there. So this is, again, log file running while the packager is running. And now you can see we've got a directory called Android ASTC. There's probably nothing in there quite yet. So I'm going to wait for it to finish running before I click into it. So again, we're in users, my name, documents, Unreal projects. And my project is called New VR Project. And then inside there, we're in the package builds directory, and we're just waiting for it to finish. It auto generates that Android _ ASTC folder for us, which is what you're seeing in Windows Explorer. And once that has finished running and it has packaging is complete, we can go into this Android ASTC directory, and you will see 3 files there. The first one you're going to see is that install new VR project. The second one is just new VR project -arm64.apk. That's our actual program, our app. That first .bat file is a batch file. If you double click that install, it will just actually install the program straight to the headset, which is very useful. And here I am doing that. You can kind of read what it's telling us. It's telling us it's going to do an uninstall first, and then it's going to copy over the file. and it copies over the APK to the headset. If you want to uninstall, it's that last one, uninstall new VR project at ARM64. Uninstall will just go out to your headset and yank that program. I'm going to reinstall it. You see the word failures there. It's really just telling you that for some of the phases, a failure doesn't really mean that much. Say a person deleted the program off the headset already, the uninstaller will still try to remove it, but fail because it's already been removed. And that's it. You have made an APK file, but now we're going to go get SideQuest. Go to sidequestvr.com. And SideQuest is kind of a weird site. It's a promo site. It's kind of like an app store, right? So you see lots of promotional stuff for games and stuff. Click on Get SideQuest. We're going to download for Windows 10. You can also see the Mac ones are there. It's a pretty small app. It's mostly a web browser with a few extra features. So when we hit save, it'll come down pretty quick. There it is. We'll install. SideQuest is a cool tool. I went ahead and checked everybody. That way, no matter what user I log in as, I'll have access to the application. Click Next. That's the path. That's fine. SideQuest, the very top bar of SideQuest has a lot of the functionality. So we're going to go ahead and run it. And if you look in the top left corner, you'll see the connection state of the headset. So right now it's amber. It says version 0.10.24 connecting. That should flip to green once it's connected. That downloading is just app stuff downloading. And now we're connected. That's the IP address of the headset, 192.168.86.20. Battery state's 100% on the headset. And now here is the little down arrow icon, install APK file from folder on computer. You go ahead and click that. It's going to open up a file picker. We're going to go again to Documents, Unreal Projects, New VR Project, and Packaged Builds, Android ASDC, and we're going to pick that APK file. Go ahead and hit Open, and it immediately starts the app install. It's communicating with our headset. And it is done. All tasks completed in that green toolbar down there. And you can go to, I was having trouble finding it. You can go to that little checkbox icon there. And this is a cool way to see the status of projects, what they ran, if you want to retry them, etc. This is like utilities. I won't go into any of these today, but there's some cool stuff in there that you can mess around with. But that installer, APK installer, the little down arrow, that's our main thing right there that we want to care about. And so now you've just built an app and you've installed it via the launch feature of Unreal Engine, and you've installed it with SideQuest. You did it. You should pat yourself on the back. It's a lot of steps. It's a pain in the butt. But you don't have to be a super duper developer person to make it happen. Congrats.